Tim, is this technically season two?
I'm sort of treating this as season two. Yeah, so actually, yeah, some small changes. I think the intro music was too long. We're just going to have the little buzz. So we're going to have to explain what the format of the podcast is now. We're going to talk to a comedian and then they're going to tell us their dream comedy lineup. There we go. That's the format.
Very well, Tim. That's why it's Tim Lewis. Our guest today is Ben Pope. Any ABCers will have seen Ben Pope doing sets or emceeing at Always Be Comedy, and even people who haven't been to Always Be Comedy are probably familiar with Ben Pope. I've never met Ben Pope, but at the end of the chat, I said to Tim, I was like, "What an absolute dreamboat!
He's wonderful.
He's more charming than Nigel Havers, and that really is the highest compliment I can pay a fellow human being." Tim, I thought he was a delight. What a great guest.
He's great. I've known him for a long time now. I teched his first ever Fringe show is 7 years ago, I believe. So I've known him for a long time, and he's just he's one of my favourites. He's a lovely boy, and he's been doing a lot of stuff himself. He's put out his own specials, and people are really taking to it. And he's just been growing bit by bit, and I really love seeing it. He's doing it all himself, and it's very exciting.
Now, the Footlights thing is fascinating to me in that there was a time where if you'd been in Footlights, it was almost like you automatically got your own sitcom or you appeared on The Young Ones or whatever it might be. Because there is a very specific episode where it's the Bambi episode. Is that the best episode? Probably. Whereas now it is simply not the case. We didn't have time to say this to Ben, but there is a Footlight that we know, Tim, an ex-Footlight, and they said that they were at a gig once, and a veteran comedian said to them, "Oh, you're in Footlights. Oh, well, you'll get your own TV show then." And our friend was being diplomatic, and so they didn't say anything. They just sort of like took it on the chin.
Yeah.
But what the veteran comedian said was grossly unfair, because that has not been the case for 15 years, maybe longer.
Yeah, I don't know how it works. I think indirectly maybe you can benefit from Footlights and so on, but it's certainly not the 80s where it's like, right, here's your diploma and here's your sitcom script too.
Yeah, that's right. As they handing the diploma in one hand and handing the shooting schedule with the other. And of course, Ben's answer was typically charming, Tim.
Very charming, very considered. Yeah, it was very, you know what, it was lovely because he sort of talks about how he maybe was when he just finished university, and I think it was a very honest answer, which I really appreciate.
I've got a pretty full list of former Footlights members.
Oh yeah.
It is insane.
Oh, it's absolutely astonishing.
Douglas Adams, Clive Anderson. Don't worry, I'm not going to do. I know I'm doing the A's. I'm not going to do everyone. Can you imagine that? This podcast is 3 hours long. Alexander Armstrong, Richard Ayoade, David Baddiel, Morwenna Banks, Humphrey Barclay, Tom Basden. Anyway, John Bird, Simon Bird. They're not related.
Oh, I don't think
I don't think they are. I didn't know Peter Bradshaw was ex-Footlight.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Tim Brooke Taylor, Graham Chapman, John Cleese, Olivia Colman, Peter Cook. You get the idea, right? You get the idea. But there was a cut-off, I suppose. Maybe the cut-off came around the time, Tim, where there just wasn't as much comedy getting made, perhaps.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's probably a byproduct of just not as much comedy being made. Yeah, that's true.
The list is extraordinary. Ben Pope, he's one of those guys, and again, I therefore immediately have a soft spot for him. He's juggling it with the day job, and I did go through a similar thing where when you actually enjoy the day job, it is trickier to knock that on the head and go all in on the comedy. I was probably fortunate in that my day job has been reduced to rubble, right? And that is journalism and media and whatnot, it's obviously it's had a torpedo taken to it in recent years. Whereas Ben Pope manages a bookshop and clearly loves it, Tim.
Yeah, he absolutely loves it. He's done a few videos about books very broadly, about like book covers and so on, and they do well on socials. I sort of, if I was being cynical, I would say he could sort of become the book comedian to some extent, because his knowledge on literature and just the tropes of like mainstream fiction and non-fiction is very impressive.
Have you
But
had
he
that
just
chat
loves
with him?
it. You what?
Have you had that chat with him? Because you're right when you say that. Like, is that not a brilliant idea?
Well, I think he knows that as well because of some of the content he puts out.
So has he aggressively pursued, unnecessary use of aggressively, but has he pursued that of being the book guy, like launching a book podcast or a book series of YouTube videos?
Well, he hasn't done that, but he's done reels about here are 5 book covers I'm done with.
Yes,
So
he has. You know what? Of course he has. Because like Mark Cooper Jones, he's pursued the whole geography thing. He's part of
course.
Map Men. They've got a book out, haven't they now? Map Men.
Yeah, was he? Forgive me.
Tank.
Yeah. It was that. Yeah. Absolutely, Mark. Yeah, I remember first seeing him on for Russell Howard's Good News extra bit. Yeah.
Love Wit. I'll always love Wit Tank.
But yeah, if you if you like books, and that is a very broad thing to say, if you like music, but if you like books, Ben Pope, you'd really get on board with him. But also, if you don't read much, I don't read much. I think Ben is just a phenomenal comedian, and he is going on tour. So so when this episode comes out, he will be on his way to Manchester to perform at XS Malarkey. He is then going to Glasgow, Oxford, Bath, Bristol, Edinburgh, Cardiff, and Cambridge. The big reunion back for Footlights. And he has also this week announced the Soho Theatre run. So this is all taking place over September, October, and then the Soho dates are the 3rd to the 5th of November. And the show, The Cut, it did superbly at the Fringe. And it was just, we talk about on the episode, it's a show that comedians just went to see constantly. There were constantly comedians doing stories about how much they loved the show. It was a comedian show, but also, crucially, it sold to audience members as well. It was a big old show, which I was thrilled to see from the outside.
Really great, Tim. Brilliant, as always. By the way, stay tuned for the very end. Ben recommends a couple of books.
Yes. You know what? Yes. I'm delighted you said that. In the show notes for first time ever, there will also be a reading list. So I'll put his dream lineup down, and I'll also put the books he recommended down.
I'm labouring through a book at the moment. The first book in particular was right up my street, so I will pursue that. Yes. I will definitely read the first one. I would love to get around to the second one, but as he was describing the first one, I was like, oh, that sounds great.
Yes, I finished Running the Light very recently, and I loved it. And I'm so bad with getting through books, so I'm going to be inspired by Ben Pope and maybe start reading some more books.
We've also, Tim, we've recommended some books at the alwaysbecomedy.com/blog. 2-parter, the best books about comedy ever.
Yeah, it's a really good blog. I can say that because I didn't write it, so I just read it as a viewer, and I really loved it. I picked up several recommendations, and yeah, it covers a lot. It's a very good list, I must say.
Thank you. I can't say any of that because I did write it. And look, Ben Pope will be back at Always Be Comedy. He's one of those guys, Tim. Obviously, I've never actually met him in the flesh, but whenever he MCs, the feedback is always super strong. So, which is honestly, it's the best thing to hear. We had it recently with Don McGovern, didn't we, last week? So, Ben Pope will be back, and then across the coming days and weeks. If you're listening to this on the day of release, Tuesday the 23rd of September, Well, next Monday, Jen Brister, that's the 29th of September, is doing a work in progress. Try the STU secret code that we give to you guys and our newsletter for that one. And then the Sean Walsh, Wednesday, the 1st of October. And then, Tim, check this. Tuesday, if you love your mixed bills, Thursday, the 2nd of October, Nish Kumar, Red Richardson, Rachel Parris, Shalaka Kurup. And then the following night, Friday the 3rd of October, Ian Smith, Maisie Adam, Ori Styler, Sam Campbell. And then Monday, new material night, 6th of October, Lou Sanders, Paul McCaffrey, Samira Banks and Alice India. New material night. We really love it. For all this and much, much more, please do visit alwaysbecomedy.com/tickets. And then we've also got all our Chelsea shows on sale at alwaysbecomedy.com/Chelsea. All new night, in addition to the Tommy Field at the Trafalgar on the iconic Kings Road. And that starts Thursday, the 23rd of October. For all this and more, please visit alwaysbecomedy.com. Look, here he is, the wonderful Ben Pope.
Sorry, this is so unearthly early. I'm sorry.
Oh, mate, I've been up since about 6. This is like middle of the day for me.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well, I've got 2 young nippers, so
Sure.
This is great. Tim, how is this for you? Is this middle of the night?
Yeah, it was like 4 a.m., but that's all right.
Oh, bless you.
That's okay.
Right. Well, look, Ben, we're very grateful. Thank you for making the time. Now, speaking as someone who was juggling another job up until lockdown, how do you find it? Because as Tim will attest, I always have a soft spot for the acts who juggle this with regular work.
Yeah. It is becoming increasingly as both things get better, they become more difficult. In that when I first started working at the bookshop that I work at, it was I was doing just Sundays there, and also I was just picking up gigs where I could. But now I'm the manager of the shop, and also I have a lot more gigs. So the kind of both things are fighting for each other, against each other even. So that's kind of it. It becomes trickier, and you have to work out what to say yes and what to say no to. But annoyingly, I do just love both things. So it is it's tricky. But what I do like is I like having I like the structure, and I get to talk to people every day, which is very nice. Customers are just slightly better, I think, than drunk audience members, but it's a close thing.
Because a lot of comedians have had a day job that they loathe, right? So quite a few have done like call centers. So when it comes to taking the leap, it's actually quite an easy. I know the finances can be tricky, but in terms of leaving the job, it's quite easy. But I mean, I had a job that I really enjoyed, and that's the tricky thing, isn't it? If comedy is the 10 out of 10 thing, but the actual job is maybe a 7 or an 8 or even a 9.
Yeah,
it does make it hard, doesn't it?
It does, and I think also there's that hungriness that I think people who have either loathed their day job or have just gone pro and just dropped everything else. There's that kind of like, I need to pay the bills and I need to make this work, which I think is slightly absent when you have a nice job that pays the salary, and then and you can, I don't have to worry about rent, but you suddenly there's a pros and cons, I suppose. It allows me to not do things that I really don't want to do in comedy, of which there are always many examples. So there's, I don't have to do too many corporate gigs or too many, if the travel is like completely unwieldy, I don't have to do that. But nonetheless, I do think there is something occasionally. I'm quite kind of jealous of the romance of just doing comedy and just having to churn it out and make it work and pull all the strings together. Yeah, I don't know what the right answer is. At one point, I will have to choose, I think, and then we'll see.
I mean, if I was being Johnny positive, it is a champagne problem, isn't it? I suppose.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can't complain. I mean, the fact that my girlfriend is a chef, and so we're both in this position where we're both kind of hustling to make a kind of slightly creative thing work. And we're always both just like, God, we're just lucky to have a job, just have a job, is a treat. So, no, you're quite right. It is. I shouldn't really be. It's a posh boy problem, really, to be like, oh, I've got 2 jobs. Oh, James, I've got 2 jobs. Oh no, no, I can't complain.
As I'm sure you know, Tim Lewis is, I would say, chairman of the Ben Pope fan club.
Yeah.
Oh, he's very nice to me, is Timmy.
I teched Ben's first ever Edinburgh run, which was an absolute delight and a dream. Didn't know Ben before, but when you're teching someone for, I think, 25 shows in a row, you become the chairman of the fan club. So did we work out that was 8 years ago or something?
Wow.
Yeah. 2018, I think, was possibly it. So
7 years ago.
7 years
ago.
God, yeah. And there was the show I knew that Tim was truly comfortable with me as both an actor and as a human was when I came into the venue and Tim was sitting in the tiny little tech booth and then throughout the show eating chicken. Just like fried chicken out of a little box, and I was like, "This man is my friend."
Just about to say that's friendship.
I'm more professional now as well, so I don't even do that anymore.
Wow!
What is it now, Tim?
Normally it's like Candy Crush.
Tim, I've never asked Tim a question during a podcast, but you know what? I'm gonna. Tim, given as my mum would say of Ben, it's all happening for him. There's heat with the Pope Meister. I mean, we're here talking about a tour. You must be like a proud parent.
I really am. This fringe. I was supposed to be teching the show. There's something happened which meant I couldn't tech the show, but so I watched from afar, and it just kept going. These massive reviews were just coming out all the time, and I was so thrilled and so delighted with the new show, The Cut, which is on tour very soon. We'll talk about. It was a shame not to be there, but I was able to enjoy it from the comfort of my home, and it was quite an amazing thing. Because Ben, you produced the show all by yourself. You had to do, you had to organise a flyer. You had to do all these little things which make performing a show just that a bit more tedious because there's so many different jobs to do.
Yeah.
And managing to get, your broadsheets in, your big comedy nerd review blogs in, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really, really impressive thing that I think should definitely be given credit for, especially in they call it the top 4, the big 4 comedy venues. It's expensive stuff, but you managed to do it, and it's quite an amazing thing.
Thanks. Thank you.
Ben, did you go down the PR route, or was this organic Ben Pope PR?
I did have a PR. So that's Julian Hall, who does a few things, and who is, I have to say, I've done the Fringe a lot in my 20s, and occasionally used a PR person, and was always terrified and scared. There's you spend so much money, and then it just seems to be a lot of people sending emails and drinking champagne. this guy Julian is absolutely, he like worked his ass off, and he like really like got me loads of stuff. He got me like paid work writing like articles for the bookseller and stuff in order to try and promote the show, and he was wonderful. So I have no bad words to say about him. He helped me with that, and then I did all the sort of like the production side of things, so all the admin and all of the sort of liaising with the venue and the sorting out the flyering and the design and all of that kind of stuff, which, as Tim said, I'd sort of forgotten how much that is. All day is just a million jobs, and then you do the show and you sort of get to the show and you're like,
I think that description there of Julian, I know Julian a bit. I think you'll have a few comedians listening to this going, because what you want with the PR is someone who gives a shit, don't you? Someone that's prepared to run through that metaphorical brick wall. And what you're saying there, I mean, what a lovely description that is. That's fantastic. It's
so nice to partly I was very like drawn to working with him because he came, he just happened to see me at a different show, and was very nice about it. And then when I raised the idea of like the Fringe, he was I showed him like a work in progress. He was so enthusiastic, and I think actual like enthusiasm for like your own specific act in like an agent or in a promoter or in any way is like so, rather than just sort of resigned erosion. Like if I send enough emails, they might finally do something. The idea of someone actually being like behind you, is so lovely and very refreshing and very it makes all the work a lot easier, and then you feel a bit more sort of like you've got a bit of a team, as it were.
Now, before we get to the cut, this really is shamelessly a question for me. Can you just talk us through what is Footlights like? Because I think there was a documentary on the BBC maybe 10, 15 years ago, and one of the themes of the documentary was that there was a time, Emma Thompson era, maybe up to Iowade, where you graduated, and obviously it's an exaggeration, and the BBC or Channel 4 went, here, have a sitcom or whatever. But that hasn't been the way, has it, for a good, maybe 10, 15 years?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's sort of, in general, I would say, as the creative industry, like as stand-up and comedy and TV have sort of become, well, I guess, more industrialized. The whole thing has become, rather than, your mate who works in development just writes you an email and goes, gosh, we'd love to have you on, and then you straight onto television, because there was only however many people working in it in whatever it was, the 50s and 60s. It is just now like there's a million people doing it. There's loads of like excellent initiatives to actually like broaden the entire kind of gamut of people doing it. There's entry levels everywhere. It's like it's so good. It just means that there's so much less kind of essentially nepotism, which is, it obviously still exists in a big way, but like particularly for, I suppose, probably in the same way that with any industry, if you go to like a fancy university, often the people, it's your mates or your friends who are handing out the jobs, and that's so people end up with that much more of a larger proportion of Oxbridge people get into things in all the industries. It's particularly obvious with entertainment, because entertainment is like a public-facing industry. It's all about being like, look at me. So very tricky when everyone's looking at you and your taxes aren't sorted or whatever it is. So I think it's changed a lot. And my experience of it, I mean, this is, 10 years ago now, was that there was still, I mean, I'm not going to lie, there was still like a sense of entitlement, the years above me, including me, that's not me saying other people. I think once I got there and I'd done, the stuff, I felt like, I might be onto something here. When I was in my first year at university, the third year was like Phil Wang and Pierre Novelli and Ahir Shah and George Fouracres, who's on at the Globe, and it's so like an incredible. And then above that was like the guys from The Pin and Liam Williams and Sheeps, and like Johnny Sweet was sort of occasionally coming back. So that all these people who you know, it would seem to be getting kind of traction and work, and with stuff was like, and we're firing away. And so there was definitely a sense that like you were joining a kind of a lineage of something, and that something would just becoming along, you know, as soon as you graduated. And then that, you know, I discovered after that you know that kind of thing doesn't really happen as much anymore, and it certainly I don't think happens if you're, you know, I'm like a fairly straight down the line stand up. So you know, sketch and character and stuff is perhaps cuts through that a little bit more, maybe. But I am. There's no doubt about it. Another white male middle class stand up, and so there's a swarm of us, and so I sort of arrived at 21 in London, sort of being like, "Where's my BAFTA?" And actually, you know, actually it was the same open mic that everyone else was doing, and I'm glad that I learned that lesson younger. You know, it'd be horrible to have had the learning curve of, you know, getting to into your late 20s or your 30s and still thinking the industry owed you something, you know, purely because you went to a nice university. It was a real like, just get on and do the work and enjoy the work, because that's probably all there is, honestly.
Yeah.
It's
a real sign of the times, isn't it? Now, as Tim said, the tour. So, now I know quite a few of the ABCers will have seen you at the Tommyfield, but to anyone that doesn't yet have a ticket, what can we expect from the tour, Ben?
It is it might even be a little bit different from what the folks at the Tommyfield have seen me. Normally, I do a lot of emceeing and just like sets and stuff. The show that I took to the Fringe that I'm taking on tour is like a sort of stand-up storytelling show, I suppose. It has a bit more like narrative thrust to it. There's no easy way to put this. Last year I got circumcised and I wrote a whole show about it. It is about that, and it also sort of in parallel with that, sort of it's a story about men going to the doctors, I suppose, is really what it's about. My dad had Parkinson's disease, and I cared for him for a good, 7 or 8 years until he died last year. And so that is also sort of like a B plot within the show. It feels like a stand-up show, and then hopefully there's like a kind of more of a slightly theatrical thing blossoms within it as it goes along. I had a lovely time at the Fringe. It's probably the best thing I've ever written, I think. And I'm just very excited. I'm very excited to see, having worked it up in comedy clubs throughout the year, then have taken it to what was essentially a theatre space in Edinburgh, and it's sort of bedded in there. I'm quite excited to then take it back to a load of clubs in the autumn and actually see how it holds up in those spaces. I'm excited.
I don't want to sound like Oprah Winfrey here, but you've already said how much you already juggle. You know, the day job's obviously going great, the comedy, and then to juggle all that as well with your dad. I mean, mate, it's a big ask, isn't it?
It was a busy few years. I mean, it's part of the reason why I'm doing the show now. Like I could have, I always think about it's something I could have done maybe, or thought about writing a bit earlier. Like I would have loved to have written more about my dad while he was still alive and done more stuff about it. But I just didn't have the time, and also you need the sort of reflection time and the skills, and actually now that I'm in a place where I have more skills and more gigs, and and it's a bit easier to tackle those bigger things. But yeah, it was a tough old time. I don't know, you get through it. You have one option, and unfortunately it is linear time. So you just muscle on and get on with it.
That's such a good quote. It's linear time. I mean, yeah, very good way of putting it. Is there anything else you wanted to ask Tim?
Not really. All I was going to say, this Fringe, it felt like every comedian went to go see you. It feels like there are certain comedians who are like comedian can be like a loaded term, I suppose. But it really felt like this year everyone went to go see Pierre, everyone went to go see like Josie Long and so on. And I would firmly put you in that category.
Wow.
And I don't really know what my question is, but
No, but that's a
what's
lovely.
that like?
No, what a lovely. This is why it's Tim Lewis. He's like Mateta lurking goal.
Yeah.
That I mean, what Tim's. That's. I mean, that's also. It's ultimately the loveliest compliment, isn't it?
That's really, yeah. There were definitely days where it didn't feel like that. I'll be honest. But that's the fringe. You'll have one day where someone you really admire comes in, and then the next day there's a lot of blank faces staring at you. So, but that's sorry for me. I can't take the compliment and not provide context. But no, it was very nice, and it does. That is often the people that I'm the most interested to see if they approve, I guess. Other comedians, it's like the same with any set. You come off stage and you just really want someone to just say that new bit you've got is really good. You just want it so much. That's the seal of approval, because they see, obviously they see something. They're like, they see so much. If they see one thing that is different or that is more like deep or interesting, then that's like the signal to keep it forever. That's like, I love it. So it was flattering. It was very flattering.
Now, Ben, you are curating your dream comedy gig. Do you have any pre-gig rituals?
I used to be quite, I think possibly in lieu of a personality when I was younger. I used to I used to do gigs where I like took my shoes off, and like I was like, I always eat a banana just before stage. And I think now I try and keep because I'm quite loose on stage. I try and keep the sense that I'm probably not going to go up on stage until about 30 seconds before it's happening, and then I like go, okay, I better get ready for this. I sort of try and keep it as true to hopefully the personality I have on stage is someone who's just been interrupted doing something else and has now got to do this thing.
Very good. You can't see this, but Tim loves that answer.
I do.
He really loved that. That was great. I would frame that picture of Tim there. He was almost licking his lips. He really was. He was. Who would MC the? That's tickled Ben. Who would MC the gig, Ben?
Great. Oh, that's tricky. I think I'm still getting over seeing. Well, it's between two. I'm still getting over seeing Kitson MC almost anything. That is always just like complete magic and gold. The other act who I absolutely love to see MC stuff and do crowd work particularly is Ivo Graham. I just every time if I get an opportunity to stick around and watch it, it's like, when you watch like a magician or like a juggler or something where you're like, I actually don't have the attic in the room of my brain with which to do the thing you're doing right now. He's so adept with words and with like just plucking things and bringing them around. I'm always so like in awe of his stuff, particularly his like live in the room stuff. So probably either Ivo or Kitson.
I mean, Tim, we've seen Ivo do that for a show, haven't we?
Oh my god, absolutely, yeah. Ivo's previews, they can like vary completely. Like it barely says the same word show to show, because he will just talk about an incident which happened the night before or something. Yeah. It's an amazing thing. And with MCing, it's extraordinary. With MCing, there was a time last year or so where he used to be posting like these crowd work clips. Most crowd work clips are about, I think they're supposed to be about 30 seconds to 90 seconds. And his were like 10 minutes because he just had all these strands he fit into a video. It's quite an amazing thing. And I think Ivo does get overlooked in the same way like Ed Gamble does or someone, because they don't really MC gigs anymore because they're closing them or like they're a mystery guest in the middle.
Yeah.
But like I miss the days where you'd see like Ed do like Bush Hall or something. Yeah, I think these people we need to get back MCing.
Great pick. Who would open the gig?
Probably. Just probably for like for like big guns. I think you want Pierre Novelli. You just want those. I know he's a friend, and it feels unfair to just staff this with posh white boys, but I'm gonna have to change things up carefully over the course of the thing. But it's just watching someone. What you want for opening is safe pair of hands. That's what you want. You want like immediate comfort from the crowd, and he'll do it. He'll immediately. It's like being someone. It's the hold my beer kind of thing. He'll just come in and be like, don't worry about this. It's going to be classy and unlike anything else you've seen, but also just don't worry.
That's a great pick. Safe pair of hands. You're right. As an MC, I can get Pierre on, and you know what? I can go for a wee.
Yeah.
Who would go in? He probably wouldn't put that on the poster, if I'm honest. Who would you put in the middle?
Who would I put in the middle? So in the middle, you want someone who's like amazing, but also potentially a stranger, kind of something a little bit more kind of maybe characterish. Maybe someone like Lucy Pearman or Lorna Rose Train. Someone in the middle there who just whenever I see Lucy particularly, I'm always just like, she's like it makes me laugh unlike anyone else makes me laugh. There's like a different I have like a gallbladder or something in here that releases a specific laugh just for Lucy's stuff, because it's chaotic, and then but it's also like it's so like what's the word I want, like viscerally silly, and I love that. And also then you've got breaks either side, so you can set up all her weird shit props.
Yeah. And it is nice to take that swing sometimes in the middle.
It's protected then as well. You don't have to worry about there's an opener and a closer. You can have some chaos in the middle, the chaos sandwich.
Tim, I know it's not always possible, but yeah, we've talked about this, Timo. Having that chaotic swing in the middle.
Yeah.
It's sometimes easier said than done, isn't it?
Absolutely, but I suppose chaotic swing, like it could be Lucy Pearman dressed as the moon or something, but can also be someone just doing a set they've never done before, and I think that's something we do quite often with perhaps a mystery guest who is going to reel off 20 minutes of jokes they've never said before. Yeah, I suppose that's our chaotic swing, but I really. I do have a weird old fringy taste, which I like. I'd like to see more at ABC, but yeah, it's just
Remember that time we put more Pergo on in the middle for that big swing, and the person that was going on last. I mean, they nearly found the Samaritans.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Joe Small-Pergo is like an act who is just so unlike anyone else. The same way Lorna or Lucy is, The first time I saw Lucy was the Three Sisters used to have a venue, which I think was literally a broom cupboard. There's no way the capacity was more than 10 people. And she was in this like gigantic egg costume. And it was terrifying. I think it might have been my first Fringe. And that was a proper, this is what the Fringe can be. Like, it was an amazing thing watching this woman in like a huge egg costume in a broom cupboard which fits 10 people.
Amazing. That's my favorite aspect of Lucy's act as well, is that inevitably it involves something incredibly unwieldy being like squeezed into like around a corner or like, something too big for the room is occurring at any one time. So good.
Who would close this juggernaut?
You need that superstar power at the end. We're thinking Helen Bauer, maybe. I keep, whenever I see Helen, I'm like, I can't. Again, like, I spend so much time doing little, like, intricate kind of like, oh, I hope this little thing, and then Helen comes in with like a great big sledgehammer.
Yeah.
It's just like sheer star power and charisma. I find that like so yeah, I find it's so beguiling. It's so like, again, like Safe Pair of Hands, but in a completely different way. Like, just complete, you're kind of whipped up into like a hysteria. It's great. Big fan.
Bauer gives. This is like the ultimate compliment. I've always got like. I'm reminded of Sam Kinison sometimes, just in terms of that ability to grab a crowd and a gig by the neck and scream at it in the best way possible. She's got that charisma. I mean, you know, no one's got Kinison charisma, but she has.
Yeah, that's a great. I've never thought about that. That's a great analogy for it. That's a really good. Yeah, a slight madness, but also just sheer like strength of will.
Yeah.
It's great. It's so great to watch.
Has there been an incident that you would love to somehow replicate at this gig?
I always think it's so lovely when something very, very unlikely happens, and it sets up like a really fun dynamic for the rest of the show. So about maybe a year and a half ago, I was doing a show up in Angel, and I used to teach kids. I used to be like a tutor, and one of my pupils from honestly like 10 years previous was just in the front row.
Oh.
He was, I think when I was teaching him, he was like very young, and he was in the ensemble cast for Matilda, and so on the West End. And I remember at the time it being like a very annoying, because like I was like trying to make my way in London, and I was teaching a child who already had a better career than me. and so it was really fun to like, that became like, that became a bit of backstory in the gig, and then it sort of sets up the whole, and then obviously there's the very funny thing of him like growing up, and I can now take the piss out of him even though he used to be my pupil. So there's like those kind of, something lovely like that, where it just sort of like, it makes something, there's a whole architecture for the rest of the gig, and like emceeing becomes really fun because I can go back to this thing now.
That's great.
I once had that with, I was warming up a Harry Hill show, Tea Time on Sky, and this total unknown, she was a producer, associate producer, never met or heard of her before, and she was called Rosie Jones. And my vibe was sort of like, hey, if you need to know anything about comedy, I'll happily lend you a hand. And then like weeks later, I'm flicking channels, and she's waving on 8 out of 10 Cats. And the gag that I've got with Rosie is that then after that I was like, can I get any hints on comedy, please, Rosie? Yeah, it's a real humbling moment, that, Ben. So I can absolutely relate to that. Has there been an incident that must not happen at this gig?
I am going to be quite specific with this one. It's specifically, if you're ever doing something if you're ever doing charity, it's like a charity gig. If there's any kind of like, we're raising money for this thing, if there is a montage of, whatever the charity is about, it must be at the end of the show. If there's going to be a sad speech about the people who are affected by the thing that is being raised money for, that must be at the end of the show. I have done too many charity gigs where they do an incredibly moving and deeply depressing speech right at the start of the show, and then as they are leaving the stage say, "Please welcome to the stage, Ben Pope," and then you have to go on.
Unplayable. Tim and I, we did it. I can't name the names. Tim, you know the story. We did a charity gig, and a comedian did the sad bit and then got on another comedian, and it's horrid. to use football parlance, it's the ultimate hospital pass, isn't it? Tim, what's the Simpsons guy? It's is it Homer is doing the comedy routine at the tribute to Monty Burns, and someone comes on before Homer and says something like a puppy's been hurt in the car park or something, and then anyway, please welcome the comedy stylings of Homer's. I think one woman audibly says something like, "Be quiet, you horrible man." It's that sort of energy, isn't it? Final question. How do you unwind after a gig, Ben?
I really like, because I'm trying for it not to be a giant pint of beer. It's a classic, but I'm attempting for it not to be an enormous pint of beer. I'm trying to do herbal tea, and also I need like at least an hour before I go to bed, that I can't go straight from the gig home, get into bed, because then I lie there crazily, wide open eyes, thinking about all the things I should have said, and all the funny little jokes that I might have made that are now useless, without me sort of making a replica of the gig, and sort of Charlie Kaufman style recreating, the exact context in which the jokes would work. So I have to do like herbal tea and a chill out. I don't really socially it's very strange. Right after a gig, I sort of don't want to talk to anyone, but I also want to be around people talking. So it's that feeling of like, particularly after like a long, like doing an hour or something, what I really want to do is just stand in a ring with like kind of almost like a kind of Celtic ritual, and just have everyone discuss something separate to the gig, but in which I do not have to participate at all, because my social battery is at 0. So one of those sort of Celtic ritual, herbal tea, Charlie Kaufman.
That's so great.
That comes up all the time.
The Charlie Kaufman thing that's brilliant. A character trying to recreate that. Now, remember where everyone was sat, and we're gonna do take 4. Let's try this again. And remember, I ad-libbed about the hearing aid and action. Now before Ben, I was gonna say I have to ask. Obviously, I don't have to ask, but I would love to ask Ben, for our listeners, and again for me, are there please any books you might recommend?
Oh my God, tons of books that I can recommend. For ABC listeners, and for you, if you enjoy because often people, I think, are looking for a novel that's funny, but they're not looking for like a humor book or like a comedian's autobiography. So if you're looking for like actual like funny novels, there are some.
May I just say, do you not think, this is just my opinion on someone who's always looking for the funny novel, I don't think there are enough out there in terms of where I'm genuinely laughing. I finished Running the Light recently. I thought it was incredible, but it did remind me that, I don't think anyone, P.G. Wodehouse, I still think is the all-time greatest in terms of, but I think there should be more, when I say funny books, I mean properly funny books.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a very hard thing to do well. And I'm going to give some recommendations, but you might also not. They might not hit. If you wanted something like, there's a great book by Joshua Ferris called "Then We Came to the End," and it's about essentially like a company in America that is going bust, and it's sort of small vignettes from all of the people within this company, and how they all react to being like laid off or whatever. And someone has a breakdown and someone has an affair, and it's incredibly well written, really, like the writing's like really real. It's a while since I've read it, but I always think of it as like, I remember finding it very, very funny and like really well observed. And it's just, it's like one of those things I just didn't really want to end. It's a cracking book. And then if you wanted something that's like a bit more overtly silly, there's a really good book by Christopher Wilson called Hurdy, Gurdy, which is about a monk in sort of plague era Britain who all of his monastery dies of the plague, but for some reason he is just it doesn't affect him. So he goes on like a kind of discovery journey in which he like goes and has sex for the first time and meets a talking pig and gets arrested. And it's just like a kind of, it's like, if you enjoy like the stupidity of like Life of Brian, Monty Python era kind of thing, you'll love that. It's like
amazing,
it's really funny. Yeah.
Thank you. That was a lovely a DVD extra. So thank you very much for that, Ben. Ben, I guess Google Ben Pope Cuts Tour, and it's as simple as that to get tickets.
Yes, yeah, or on my Instagram as well, is where all the tickets are. So,
what's the for anyone who doesn't follow you? What's the
for any
before? Sorry, I was laughing because I couldn't have sounded more the 47-year-old that I am. What is the Insta handle, Ben?
It's at Popes Benedict, which is like Eggs Benedict but with popes. There you go.
Easy, lovely.
Ben, thank you so much. Really grateful. That was fantastic.
Thank you so much for having me. What a treat. I'm honestly, thank you so much.
That was great. Thanks, Ben. Have a great day.
You enjoy yourselves. Thanks, folks. Thanks.
Cheers,
Jimmy.
pal. Cheers,
Ben.
Ben Pope, what a guy. I nearly sang Salt and Pepper. What a man. And I didn't because I think my rendition would be so perfect it would trigger the PRS payment. Tim, favourite Ben Pope memory? I mean, if you don't win this, the game has gone. I've never met the guy, so I have to say that my favourite Ben Pope memory is whenever he MCs and the tidal wave of positivity that we get to sing his praises. Tim, Maestro, music maestro, take it away.
Well, it is going to be how I teched his show, his debut show, always many years ago, 7 years ago or so. And look, I've known Ben for a long, long old time. My favorite memory, it probably is, you know what, it is the last night of his Fringe run, because it's just the last night of Fringe is always emotional. And Ben, I remember, was presented by Berksness's production team, a lovely framed post office Fringe show, and it was just nice vibes. It's not a great favorite memory, it's just a lovely vibes, lovely time.
I'm dabbing an eye here.
He's just a great guy, and I so strongly recommend you go see him on tour.
Yeah, absolutely. Tim, Nicola Walker, one of the best actresses on television, from Unforgotten, former Footlights.
Ooh, lovely stuff. Very nice.
Who do you say? Who's the most? Emma Thompson is surely the most successful former Footlight ever.
I mean, Douglas Adams did pretty well. Emma Thompson, I think yes. I'm going to join you on Emma Thompson. But wasn't like, Hugh Laurie's done very, very, very well.
Oh, yes.
Oh, man. Look.
Have you got the list?
I'm looking through the list right now. Hang on, Charles III? Really?
Have you got a different list?
List of former Footlight.
Oh my God!
Charles III.
King that Charles. Must be a joke. That must be a joke.
No.
That can't be. Somebody that must be some sort of glitch. It goes. Graham Chapman. Yeah, can't argue with that. Charles III. What? Ken Cheng. We're back in the game. I didn't know Ken Cheng was Footlight.
Yeah, you have a brilliant Ken Cheng. Yeah.
And then it goes John Cleese, Olivia Colman, Peter Cook. It's quite a run, that, isn't it?
God, it's it's a great Wikipedia page to get on. Yeah, you got Mel Gedroych. I'm really racing through now.
He's Gedders, ex-Footlights,
big time.
Wow.
I think Sue Perkins was as well. I think that's where they met.
Oh, is that where they met?
I think so. Annie Magliano.
Alex Horn.
Alex Horn. Richard Osman. Didn't know that. Sue Perkins. Yep, there she is.
Eric Idle.
Steve Punt, Jan Ravens, Leah Reich. It's really good stuff.
Jan
Ahir Shah, Phil Wang.
It's good stuff, isn't it?
It's good stuff. Tim Key, but didn't go to Cambridge, but snuck his way in. Famous.
How?
He auditioned, pretended he went to Cambridge. They said, what's your email? He said, it's timkey@hotmail.com. That's not his email, just to be clear. They said, why is it not Cambridge one? He said, we haven't sorted it out yet. They're like, fine. They then found out the head of the Footlights rings him up and was like, I know you didn't go to Cambridge, but it's fine. Something like that.
So hang on, logistically, how did that work? Because in my mind, you go to Cambridge, you walk to wherever Footlights is. What was he doing? Like driving in his car from somewhere else?
Well, he, I believe, grew up around Cambridge. So this was after
born in Cambridge. Hang on, Tim. So this happened after he'd graduated. So he'd finished university. So hang on, I've got it here. He went to the University of Sheffield and studied Russian. And then after graduation, he returned to Cambridge. Oh, Tim, this is extraordinary. So he went back to the place of his birth, Cambridge, and joined the Footlights. Here it says, despite not being a student.
Yeah.
Oh my, Tim. I did not know this.
Good stuff. It's great stuff.
And that's where he met the Cowards gang.
That's where he met the Cowards gang, the superb sketch group.
Oh my God. Didn't think I could love Key anymore. Happy to be
wrong. Robert Webb, Liam Williams. It's an endless list. Sophie Winkleman.
Winkleman's now a member of the royal family, isn't she?
She is, yeah, absolutely. She'll always be Big Suze to me, but yeah, royal family.
Right, look, thank you all. Richard Stilgo. Sorry, James, stop looking at the list. Joe Thomas, lovely Joe Thomas.
Andy Parsons.
Was Parsons Footlights?
Apparently.
Tim, this is the list that keeps on giving.
Really is. Roy McGrath.
Should have done a bonus episode, and it's just us going, I don't believe it.
Hugh Latimer, the actor / toy maker.
An hour plus of us going, Gregory Snegoff, the voiceover artist. I didn't know that. So, is it Sarah Soleimani? She did that amazing pilot with Brett Goldstein.
Okay.
Dan Stevens is ex-Footlights.
Who is?
Dan Stevens, the actor.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah,
he is funny. What was that? There's a GMTV blooper live on air. Someone says something about... They say something that alludes to giving him a hand job or something like that. But they don't...
Him! Wow, yeah, him. God.
And he does a lovely thing because there's a glint in his eye and a little look on his face. He'd say, "Sorry, what was that?"
He beat off 50 men or something.
You beat off 50 men.
Yeah,
it was that, wasn't it? Well remembered.
Will Sharp, love the guy. We have to end this episode.
Will Sharp's great, isn't he?
Will Sharp's really, really brilliant.
Yeah, you say we have to end the episode. I don't know that we do, but I mean, I could spend another week on this website.
I genuinely really could. Johnny Sweet, I must stop.
No, look, I'm not the sort of person that wants to get in the final word because that would be embarrassing. Richard Vranch, I can't believe it. Thank you as always. We're back this Friday. We've got an episode about the Emmys and Chelsea. We talk about the new Chelsea night this Friday, Tim.
Yeah, we
know that because Tim, we know that. How do we know what we're going to talk about already?
Yes, well, so there was some breaking news. Jimmy Kimmel being taken off the air, and look, we recorded that maybe an hour ago, and already there's been an update where Trump has been celebrating it.
What, since we recorded the episode?
Since we recorded the episode, consider this the encore to last Friday's episode. Trump is currently with Keir Starmer, and they were obviously asked about it, and Trump was like, I think it's a great thing. And no, I'm not doing an impression of him.
That's a shame that you're not doing the impression.
Look, a lot of people can do it, and it's great. When some people can't do it, you're like, oh god, which is right now.
It has progressed since we did the episode.
Yeah, it's an ongoing news story.
Donald Trump called the move great news for America.
Good Lord.
Good Lord. Right then, we love you, Jimmy Kimmel. But you know who we love more than Jimmy Kimmel?
Ben Pope.
Ben Pope. And whoever put that list together.
yeah, the Wikipedia editors.
Thanks, guys. Mwah, never change. Tim, see you tonight. Listeners, thank you as always. Bye. Clive Anderson.